he wants to sell his house, he's talking about quitclaim deed, right? I know the traditional sale is different, right? It's not traditionally a quitclaim deed. So can you tell me about that? Why would someone want to do that versus, a regular?
So when you do a quitclaim deed in law school, what they tell us is that when you're buying with a quitclaim deed, it's a buyer beware deed. Meaning, if I send you a quitclaim deed and you give me money for my property, you are taking the property subject to any possible problems that the property could have. What that means is that if there are liens against the property, they're now yours. If I owe taxes on the property, it's now yours. If somebody else has a claim to title, duke it out with them. You basically don't do a sale with a quitclaim deed unless you're on the property. Quitclaim deeds obviously sell at a lesser value than a warranty. And when there's a quitclaim deed, generally there's not a title company involved because I can't insure title. The last problem with that is that when it's a quitclaim deed, you're not getting a lender to finance a quitclaim deed. There's no way. So you're generally going to, yeah, exactly. You're generally going to have a cash deal or seller financing, which is even more unlikely than, a cash deal. But some people are willing to do it because they know that there's an issue with the property and they're going to have problems selling it the normal or traditional way.
Okay. So that definitely answered a lot of questions right away. What was I going to ask? Okay, so the lien search. A lien search doesn't even help this situation. Even if you do a lien search and it comes back clear, does that help anyway?
Well, here's the thing. We can do a lien search and it might come back clear. And that means that right now there's no problem.
Right.
That does not mean there is not going to be a problem in the future. And then it also doesn't mean that if somebody missed something, who are you going to claim it to?
Right.
You have a quitclaim deed. You have no protection. If I do a lien search on a property, it comes back clear. I do a closing because everything's clear. And in the future, something comes up. If it's from the time when I did the lien search and there was an error or an omission or whatever, a mistake, the title insurance will step in and either pay for it, pay you what you pay for the property, solve the problem.
Right.
If you have a quitclaim deed and you did a lien search, but there was no closing, where are you going to go, I mean, yeah, could you sue the company that did the lien search? Maybe, but who's going to pay your attorney fees and costs? Do they have a fiduciary duty to you because technically you didn't do a closing with title insurance? So I don't think that, can you do a lien search? 100%. Is a lien search going to tell you if there's a lien on the property right now? It should. However, if later on you find out there was a lien or there was something in the works that was going to become a lien, I don't know who you would go claim it to. I mean, yeah, you can sue the seller, but the seller is going to say, you have a quitclaim deed. You took it subject to any issues.
Wow. Interesting. So all the benefit is in the seller.
Of course.
It's an awesome deal for the seller, especially if he's got some things going on or he knows
Definitely.
they have something going on,
Correct.
So I can definitely see that. It definitely helps. Makes things more clear. So quitclaim deed, I see it often, and I guess you kind of clarified is it's not typically in a sale, but it may be in like a transfer, right?
Correct. So that's where you would most commonly see the quitclaim deed. The quitclaim deed usually takes place when I want to transfer a property that I own to my LLC, or I want to transfer it to my brother, my sister, my mom, my cousin. Someone sometimes transfers between family and friends, those kind of things. But generally, you will not see a sale with a quitclaim deed. Now, we're in Miami, South Florida, Broward, whatever. There's a lot of stuff that happens, right? And a lot of times,
right?
Yeah, people sell properties with quitclaim deeds. I've seen it. I'm not telling you it's impossible. But I am telling you that basically it's not the right or best way to do that you could run into issues. Sorry, did it pause me?
No.
Okay, give me a reminder about something. Anyway, so that's the problem, that it could be a benefit to both people, right? And the people who buy and knowledgeably buy with a quitclaim deed sometimes get a deal on the property. So you take it and you're taking a risk. It's a calculated risk depending on what the issues are in the property. Can they be solved? Can you, take care of them at a lower price because you're a buyer. Some counties have amnesty programs where now you as a new buyer can apply for a reduction on a lien or a payoff, but you have to be knowledgeable and know what you're doing to be able to use that in your favor as a buyer. I would not recommend that for somebody who either doesn't have the proper attorney, realtor, professional on their side, or who is inexperienced altogether.
Okay. So that brings me to two different questions. One is, how can, I know you just completely don't recommend it, but say if someone is even offering this, and wouldn't it be a smart idea to like do a background check on the person? Will that help? You know, it's like, you know,
Yes and no. It's circumstantial evidence, right? So
right?
this guy's
'Cause,
a
you
good guy, so he must not be trying to screw me over in this deal, right?
know,
But if he does screw you over because it's the first time he's doing it, then guess what?
yes,
The fact that he was a good guy is going to do nothing for you. But it's good to definitely do your research, right? Give
mhm,
it to Joe Schmo. Don't deal with sketchy people.
right,
And do your homework. Definitely 100%. I would recommend, if you're buying with a, you should definitely agents for you, but it could be beneficial, but you have to know what you're doing.
right, right. It's better to just avoid it in general. I'm sorry, this light's really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Generally, my recommendation, if I had to give you a blanket recommendation, is don't do it. Now, on a case-by-case basis, yes, I can, evaluate it with you and let you know if it's worth the risk. And obviously, you have your own reasons why you determine whether it's worth the risk or not. But long story short, if I have to tell you yes, no, I would say no.
okay. All right. And I know that you're, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not a tax professional. And you were mentioning quick,
I'm not.
right? We have to disclose that. I'm not either. This is not tax advice.
We
Um,
do.
but some people do a quick claim deed into an LLC because apparently there's, benefits to it, right? So first time homeowners, I work with a lot of first time homeowners. I hope they see this video. I'm going to share it with them. And do you see that often, or should people do that more often?
So here's the issue. When you are buying with financing, a lot of times it's very hard to get financing under an LLC.
Hmm.
Again, we live in South Florida. It's a wild, wild west. People do things that they shouldn't do all the time. When you sign a mortgage, the mortgage says that you will not change title on the property. And
Hmm.
that if you do change title on the property, that the lender can request for all of their money back, which makes sense because they gave you a loan, not your LLC, your cousin, your sister, your brother, a
Right.
loan. So what people like to do is that they like to close under their personal name and then eventually change title to the name of the LLC.
Hmm.
There's a number of issues that present themselves or that, come up when you do that. The first issue is transfer taxes. When you change the name, you technically have to pay the deed stamps on, the depending on what your mortgage amount is and the transfer and all of those things. And people don't do that. And number two, I haven't seen it happen often. I saw it happen one time, but they can ask you for your entire loan or they can tell you you owe me the balance on the loan. So I don't recommend that, but people do that when they have a finance deal and even property, because yes, there are certain deductions that you can make if the property is in the LLC's name that arguably you cannot make if the property is in your individual name. But there's a million and one factors that affect that and whether or not it does or does not benefit you to do that based off your personal circumstance, how much money you make, how many other entities you have, what your deductions could be, if you have children, if you don't, if you're married, if you're single. So long story short, I know that there could be benefits to doing that. I can't specify exactly what the benefit would be. That's where your CPA or your accountant would come in and look at your specific circumstances and advise you as to whether that would be beneficial or not.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the CPA would give them, a good number, and then they would go to see you, the title company, and then you guys would make the transfer.
Correct, or a real estate attorney. It doesn't have to necessarily be a title company. We just need to do a new deed and record it.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Really good information. That pretty much answered all of my questions about um, the quit claim deed. and more. So I really appreciate it.
No problem. Let me know if anything else comes up.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. You too.
Bye.